All right, hello everyone. My name is Efrain Reyes, and I'm going to be doing our book review for week 3. I decided to do this book review through a video to give you a little bit more personal, feeling to me, to my life, and to help you connect with me. I think that going through a online program sometimes it can be difficult to connect with people because we're only we don't really see each other. We can't see body language and that sort of thing. So I think being able to see a person is very valuable. So my book review is going to be on Start With Why by Simon Sinek. How great leaders inspire everyone to take action. To do this book review, I'm going to have a little outline here. I'm going to do a summary of the book. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons. I'm going to say why I decided to pick this book and how this relates to our class. And lastly, I'm going to ask you guys some questions about the book. Okay, so summary of the book. Okay, so I decided to read this book because I have seen a couple of videos of Simon Sinek, and I really enjoyed them. I think he has a lot of valuable ideas, and I wanted to see what else his other work. Right. The main thing about this book, the main idea that he talks about, is something called that he created. It's called the Golden Circle. It looks like this. So what the golden circle is basically 3 rings, very simple. The outer ring says what, the inner ring says how, and the middle ring says why. So he called this the golden circle, and the idea is that he says that a lot of companies usually do business from the outside in. So basically, they tell you what they do or what product they have. Maybe they tell you how they do it, but they don't often go into why they do it. But successful companies and successful leaders always start with the purpose or the why, right? And they do business inside out. Okay, so starting with why is important. But he explained this using a lot of examples, a lot of historical examples, a lot of business examples. The main one that he uses throughout the book is Steve Jobs and creating Apple. So having that Steve Jobs had a clear purpose or a clear vision made it that Apple was very successful or is very successful, right? So he explains that Apple's purpose is to think differently and challenge the status quo. So with this in mind, everything that they did always related to their purpose. Okay, he explains that through doing this, knowing your clear why, you're able to build trust within the people that are your loyal customers or the people that you're leading. So the way you do this is because if you have a clear understanding of your purpose and your why, everything that you do, so your product or how you do it, is going to correspond with why you do it, right? So people are going to see that this is what you stand for. This is what your values are, and people that have similar values or can see the value in that will follow you, or if it's business, they'll buy from your company. So he explained this through something he called the celery test. So this is something where for example, let's say you go to the grocery store and you go buy your groceries, you go through the vegetable aisle and you see you buy an apple and you buy a celery and you buy other vegetables, right? You continue going and you go through the bakery and you see cookies and you see cake, and so you put some in your cart, and then maybe you see a soda and you put that in your car. When you go pay, the people that are looking at you, maybe the cashier, can't really understand what your purpose is, right? You have some healthy options, and then you have some not so healthy options. So your actions kind of tell us some of your purpose, right? So if you had a clear purpose, let's say your purpose was to eat healthy, right? You would do everything and you act on everything to be congruent for that purpose. So when you would go to the grocery store, you would buy things that are going to be used for that purpose, right? So you would only buy things that are healthy, such as the apple, such as the celery, right? You wouldn't buy the cookies. And when you do that, people that are looking at you, and they understand that your purpose is to be healthy and to act on to eat healthy stuff, right? People that can relate to that will follow you, right? So that's where you will get your loyal leaders, right? So he also goes on and explains this. He explains that this is something you can explain in biology using these two circles. So he says that the y and the how correspond to the limbic part of the brain, and the what correspond to the neocortex. To explain this a little bit better, I want to read just the short part of the book. So it says neocortex, which corresponds to the what level. The neocortex is responsible for the rational and analytical thought of language. The middle two sections comprise the limbic brain. The limbic brain is responsible for all feelings such as trust and loyalty. It is responsible for all human behavior and all decision making. Okay, so but this does not have the capacity for language. So what this means is that the what has language and it has rational thinking, but the why and the how they're the ones that are responsible for feelings and decision making. So oftentimes when we're faced with a tough decision and we don't know what decision to make, we kind of feel something, right? Maybe like it's like an intuition, some people call it, or like a gut decision. So that will be your why, or the limbic part of your brain. But if you don't have a clear why, if you don't know what your purpose is, then that gut decision might not correlate with your purpose. So the first step is knowing your purpose, right? So you can make those decisions, and once you have that gut feeling, you can be confident that that's going to be the right thing. So that was some of the main concepts of the book. There was a lot more, but I don't want to go on and on about this book. I'm going to talk about a little bit of the cons and the pros of the book. So one of the pros, like I mentioned, is that Simon uses a lot of relevant examples to explain his ideas. So he uses like I said, Apple. He uses Microsoft. He uses Southwest Airlines, Starbucks, and how all those companies have started with a clear why and why they're successful. No, he also uses some of the companies that are not that successful, or maybe they were successful because they had a clear why, but now they're not doing so great. Okay, so I think I really found value in that because it made sense to me why those companies are successful and why some are not. So it kind of created that that value in my brain. One of the critics that I would talk about, one critique that I would talk about this book is that I felt that he was being very repetitive with, the importance of starting with why. He kept using that, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. He repeated that phrase I don't know how many times in the book, very very repetitive. Um, so it kind of got a little bit annoying at some parts, but I understand that he was doing it for a purpose, right? Kind of giving that more importance of like the reason starting with why, basically. So that's my critique. Um, Next, why I decided to read this book. I think I decided to read this book because I wanted to find my own why. I want to understand my own purpose. I want to understand the reason why I do the things that I do. Why I get up in the morning, why I come to work, why I'm in this program with you all, and I wanted this book to help me through that. And I felt like it it kind of didn't help me through that. It was just more of like the importance of it. But I did find a lot of value in the book, even though it didn't I didn't get what I was looking for. Um, but this, relating it to our class, this is a perfect book to understand. Our uh, our leadership, right? Because, for example, in our class, we're talking about, the C's of social leadership, and the first three are starts with self, conscious self, congruence, and commitment. So those three um, have to do with yourself, right? So leadership, what I got from this book and from the book that we're reading, the textbook, is that leadership is going to start within you and understanding your purpose, and understanding who you are. And thankfully, by reading this book, I was able to get some of the things that I kind of wanted to get from wanted to know more about my purpose, right? So how does my culture influence the things that I do? How does my family influence my purpose? How does my faith influence my purpose, right? So these things are the ones that I kind of wanted to know more about, and thankfully, the textbook is doing a really good job explaining those things. So with the help of the textbook and with the help of the book that I read, I think I have a more clear vision of what my why is. My why is to see kids grow up in a healthy environment. Um, and my why comes from my childhood, growing up with a dad that was an alcoholic and that was not, you know, he didn't never abused us, but he was never there for us, right? Um, and I don't have resentment through because of that, but I do think that kids need a involved father in their lives, and when kids have that, they're gonna be able to be more successful. My why became even more powerful because of this little girl. When I became a father of this little girl, just looking at her makes me even work a lot harder to help her and to help other kids grow up in a healthy environment and give them the best chance of success. Um, and I think that's the way I'm gonna measure my why. Not necessarily by how much money I make, not necessarily where I am. It's more of like how many kids' lives I'm able to change. So with that, I want you to kind of reflect a little bit about your purpose, and maybe you already know what your purpose is and your purpose is very clear, which is great. Or maybe you're still looking for that. You're still trying to refine your purpose. Just like me, I'm still trying to clarify and make sure that I have a clear understanding of what my purpose is. Therefore, I can act on it, like Simon, suggested. So I want you, and I think that if we all kind of have a common purpose and understand what our values are, we're able to be a better team. We're able to work more efficiently. We're able to work better as a team and as a group, and we're able to create great work, in this class, in our major, in the program, and then obviously where it makes more impact, which is in the field where the kids are. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. If you guys have any questions, any comments about this video, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer those questions. Anything that you want to talk about, want to know more about the book, wherever it is, my purpose, my why, please reach out to me, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys.